Hi folks, I'm Nathan with TwoGuysAndARide, and welcome to our ultimate user guide on the all-new design 2025 Mercedes Benz E-Class. And this is an E450 All-Terrain wagon, and it is the pinnacle trim level. Today I'll be covering the driver's information and infotainment screens, including the passenger screen on this all-new super screen. And I'll do a general overview, show you how to access information, and do a deep dive. Let's get started.
Today, we're working with our friends at Sears Imported Autos, selling beautiful Mercedes Benz in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
So what we're looking at here is a 12.3-inch driver display, and there isn't a lot that's changed. In fact, very little has changed inside the driver screen from the 2024 versions. You can, however, opt for a 3D view on your driver's dashboard. This particular vehicle does not have it, but you can opt for that, and that gives you, of course, a 3D look on your dashboard. So in order to control everything on the dashboard here, you're going to use the OK button with the 4 arrows, the home button, and then the back button at the top of the left side of the steering wheel. So to get started, this is called the classic view. And in this view, of course, you got your speedometer on the left. You've got your RPM gauge on the right. You do have your fuel gauge below at the bottom of the speedometer. You got a clock. It'll tell you that your parking brake is engaged, and then it'll tell you your gear selectors in park. Above that on the left, you've got a speed sign reading, and then you've got your digital miles per hour, and then you've got your cruise control indicator, and I'll show you a little bit later about the level 2 autonomous driving on this car. And then over on the far right, of course, you have lane keeping assist symbols there. Now, at the bottom of the RPM gauge, since this is a hybrid and it has a 48-volt system in it, it'll tell you when it's using the battery power and when it's charging it. And then just below the power charge gauge, you have your drive mode, which is in comfort right now. And then you got all of your gear selectors with the, of course, park illuminated. While we're in the middle, this is the only screen in which you can change the information that you see in the middle. And you simply do that by scrolling down on the trackpad here. So you got this screen, you've got this one, you've got this one, you've got that one, that one, that one. You got your media screen. Then you've got the map you can put between the gauges. And then we're back to here. Now, the other screens, you can't manipulate the information, but let's take a look at them. So we'll go to the home button. We'll go over to sport. Take a look at that. Okay, you got a G-force meter on the left. Of course, your fuel gauge is now just on the bottom left. You've got pound-foot of torque written up there on the left. And then, of course, you got a nice graphic display if you're using the accelerator. You can see that. It's really neat. Over on the right, you've got horsepower. And then, of course, you have oil pressure on the far right. And then your hybrid system power charge indicators at the bottom there. Okay, let's press the home button. Since we've already been to classic, let's go over here. This is a really cool view. So this takes out all sort of the big gauges, gives you a beautiful navigation map. And then, of course, you still have all your standard stuff at the top, and your other stuff is just moved to the bottom. So you still have your fuel gauge, you have your clock, you got your gear selector, power charge for the hybrid system. Really, really neat. It's a beautiful view. All right, I'm going to hit the home button again. We're going to go over. This is your assistant screen, and this is a really fun screen to watch. So it'll actually read the road. So if you're on a 3-lane road, it's going to show you 3 lanes. If you're using the semi-autonomous driving feature and the car signals to pass a car, it'll put an arrow on there showing you where it's turning to. And then when it turns back into the lane, it'll do the same thing. It's really, really, really neat. All right. And of course, that in addition to that, it'll do your lane centering and that kind of stuff if you're not using the autonomous driving part. All right, press the button again. Go over it. Now, since this is the all-terrain wagon, we do get the off-road graphic. So at the top, it'll show you your steering angle, and then at the on the middle, it's going to show you your tilt. Okay, and then of course in the middle you got a compass, and then over on the right you've got an RPM gauge, and it'll show you the incline. And then your other gauges are just below there. That is a really cool thing that they add that, since this is the all-terrain wagon. All right, then of course this one is your serviced. Hey, you can see your tire pressures in this particular view, and then any messages you get, it'll give you your coolant temperature and your engine oil level. Hit that button. Now, the other thing that you can do, I'm going to go back to the classic view for a minute, is this has a beautiful HUD display. So if you simply press the home button and then scroll up, this is all the stuff you can get. So you have minimal, sport, standard, off-road, and then here's where you can adjust settings. So if I click on this, if I go up or down, I can raise the height or lower the height of the HUD. And then if I just simply go left to right in the same graphic, you can adjust the brightness of the HUD. Now, if I go over one more, I can turn the HUD display off. And then if I scroll down and I'm out of it, when I go back up to HUD, I just have to click it on. And then it comes on. All right. So that is the driver screen. Next, we're going to move over to the infotainment screen. All right, moving over to this beautiful 14.4-inch infotainment screen, which is part of the super screen, which includes a passenger screen, and I will get to that in a little bit. Now, this has the Burmeister surround sound system that has 23 speakers and 1,450 watts of power. And one of the new things that they've included in here, and I'll be showing you that, is a whole bunch more controls over the audio system. Now, as typical, you can just press and hold the home button, and you can switch to the 0 layer if you want, if you like that. Or we can go back here and we can switch to the classic view. For the purpose of the review, I'm going to be sticking to the classic view. And these apps are movable, so you just click and hold. Okay, then grab it, and then you can switch places. Okay, and you can, there's 2 pages of them, and you can slide them to the other page if you want. Press the home button to get out of that editing mode. Down here, you can see there are a total of 3 dots. So I have this screen of apps, this screen, which just has the Vivalidi Browser. This does have Sirius XM 360. It has AM, it has FM. Of course, you can attach a USB. You can use Bluetooth. It has wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. I'll be showing you that in a little bit. It does include a new selfie camera, which is right here. So this can also be used now for Zoom meetings. Yes, you do need to be stopped and in park for the camera to work for a Zoom meeting or YouTube or any media streaming app, as you would expect for safety reasons. The passenger, however, can use theirs while the car is moving. It has HD radio. It also has augmented video for navigation. Okay, as you notice, this does have ambient lighting in the car, and it can be active ambient lighting, which means it'll actually respond to the music. Now, down here below, you're going to see that you have a menu that stays. So this is the driver and passenger temperature. It's a dual zone auto climate control system. You do have a fan speed right here that you can change. And then you've got a menu for the climate system. Okay? You've got a back button. You've got a home button to bring you to this screen. You can have a radio channel button right here. And then you've got max defrost, rear defrost. So those ones are always there. And then down below that, you have got dynamic control right here. So you can change from economy to comfort to sport to individualized, and because this is the all-terrain wagon, you have the off-road mode. Okay? Now, I'll show you real quick, since we're here on the individualized mode. If you just go up here and tap on the gear wheel, Okay, this is where you're going to go. It's under settings and then vehicle, but this is where you can change your drive. You can change the suspension. You can change the steering. And then you can change the electronic stability program right there. So that is how you set the individual program that you see showing up as the eye. Let's go back here to the beginning here, and let's talk about navigation. All right, so it's a simple click in there. This is a Mercedes built-in navigation. And if you can use the voice assistant, you can also tap here, and you can either click something that is close to what you want, dining, maybe parks, coffee, or you can type it in. But the easiest way to do this, right, is simply to say it. So, hey, Mercedes.
How can I help?
Navigate to the closest Dairy Queen.
I have found multiple results. Where are we off to?
3.
I'll take a look at what route we should take.
Okay. And there you go. Now, if you want to cancel a route.
Right. I'm canceling route guidance for you.
Yeah. See, that easy. You can just tell it and it does it. All right. If I click on that picture, then I get previous destinations, gas stations, parking spaces, and then if you're traveling alternative routes, you can search for things right through that window. And if I hit the back button here and go over here to settings, this is where you can make a lot of one-time settings in your navigation. Okay, it takes a couple of minutes sitting in your driveway. But as far as routes, do you want to avoid highways? Yes or no? Do you want on toll roads? Do you want to avoid all? Do you want to use cash or card payment? Do you want to use electronic billing, or you can avoid them? I won't go through all of them, but this is where you would go to make those settings. Okay. Now, that's under route. Under view on your map, you have satellite map, free-flowing traffic, traffic incidents, auto zooms. That when you're coming up to your turn, it'll zoom in on the map. Okay. Route overview after start, on or off. Now, augmented reality video. This is the one that I was talking about. So it'll show you, that turns it on or off. This one shows you street names and house numbers. Okay. And it is just a really phenomenally cool feature. It'll actually show you like arrows, 3D arrows for the direction you're turning. If you've never tried it, it's absolutely phenomenal. Right. So let's keep going. POI symbols, point of interest. So if you always want to know where gas stations are, okay, you can go down here and you can turn that on, and then on your map automatically it'll pop in any gas station that it finds that's in your in your screen view. Okay, and it does actually have other categories that you can look through as well. So these are things that you can just say, I always want these to show up on my map. Okay. And then down here, you do have a map color scheme, automatic, day, which is what's set to, or night. And you can see that it kind of blacks out the screen. Okay. And then you can look at the map data version if you happen to be looking for what version of a map is this, especially if it's down especially if it's down the road a little bit and you're trying to you bought the car used, you might want to check that. Now, under messages and acoustic signals, you can have reduced messages on, so it's not constantly talking to you. You can have detailed messages, or you can have messages off. You can have it announce street names if you want detailed messages, but maybe you say, I don't want all the street names read out to me, so you turn that part off. Announce traffic warnings, on or off. Okay, so this is simply where you go to get all that information. That's one little click. Now, this is a 2D version of the map. You can have north up. You can have a 3D view where the buildings actually pop up in 3D, and then we're back to 2D. So really neat features in the navigation. Now, that all comes with the car. However, if you want to do the Mercedes Me app, it's free for a year. And then it's currently $150 per year. So, $12 a month, something like that. And then you get Google Maps as well, like right on your phone, and it goes right in there. You also get that through Apple CarPlay, so I've yet to see the benefit in that, but there are a lot of benefits to having the Mercedes Me app besides that. But that is an extra feature that comes with it. Okay, so that is navigation. All right, so let's take a look at radio here. Okay, just got to turn the volume down. How do I tune? How do I make a favorite? How do I delete a favorite? How can I rearrange the order of the favorites? And then where are my sound settings? So these are the basic questions we get. So tune, easiest way is just to scroll. Right? You can use channel button here and go one by one if you want. Hey, how do I make a favorite? Well, we'll start here and we're going to just click the star. It's going to drop it down to the favorites. So I'm going to make a couple because there aren't any on here. And we're going to go one more. Okay, so now, click that again, there's a favorite. To view, the best way to view the favorites that you just made is to drop down to this button right here. Okay, and here we go. Here are the favorites that we have. Okay, so how do I delete it? Well, there's a couple ways. If I click on here, I can delete it from here, or I can say edit, and when I edit it, if I click right here where the arrows are, this is how I rearrange it, okay? The other way that you can delete a favorite, so let's hit the return button for a minute, is to simply, when you're in that favorite, just click the star again, and now that's deleted. So that's how you're going to, that's how you can tune. That's how you can make a favorite. That's how you can delete a favorite. So let's talk about sound manipulation. So if I click on the musical arrow, and this is where, the 2025 E-Class has added features. So first of all, you can create a personal sound file and set that up. You got equalizer matrix, you've got bass characteristics, and then you got surround sound, okay? And those you just manipulate with your fingers to do that, okay? I'm gonna go back here for a minute, and I'm gonna go to, okay, I can have it as pure or 3D sound. If I go down here to the equalizer, I can adjust that for the whole car. Balance and fader, just a click drag. 4D sound. So 4D sound is really cool. You can individually, between the driver and passenger, change the amount of bass because there's a subwoofer built into each seat. And you can change the amount of bass that's just in the seat. It's just amazing. Then you've got sound focus. Okay? It's just, it is really something else. And that sound profiles really allows you to get in there and just really customize things. It's just amazing. All right, so that's radio. That's how you tune. That's how you make a favorite, delete a favorite, rearrange a favorite, and adjust your sound. All right, I'm going to skip over apps for a minute. Comfort, oh boy. This has massaging seats, and so you can start it for the driver or passenger, and you just hit the play button. Okay, and you can set it as intensive or not. You can click that part off. You've got all these different ones: wave massage, deep wave massage, hot stone massage, and invigorating massage. Okay, and then just click the play button when you've selected it, and it will start that particular pattern. It is really, really nice, and it's both driver and passenger. So that's how you adjust it. Now, as far as your seat goes, you can have seat kinetics, and what that's designed to do is, just help you keep awake while you're driving, and not a massaging feature. That's why massaging is separate. Okay, but then you can go into there and adjust that for driver and or passenger. Ambient light. Well, I've already showed you a little bit of this, but under color, you can have either multicolors or monochrome, and then you can just, go through and select the one that you want, and it changes. So just absolutely amazing. You can go under multicolor and select, color schemes that you like. It is just really neat. Now, under brightness, you can link all the zones together, and then you can adjust the brightness of all the zones at once, or you can unlink them and just say, well, I want the direct one to be dim. I want the indirects to, you know, you can adjust each of them separately. So that is really nice. Energizing comfort here. Okay, so you got freshness, so you can start that. And it has an energizing comfort program. It's going to show you a beautiful little movie on the screen. So you'll notice that whatever you select, once you hit play, the ambient lights, everything changes. That's where you can do energizing comfort. All right, so that's all under comfort. Off-road. All right, again, this is the all-terrain wagon. And so you get lots of information for off-roading. You do have a height adjustable suspension. This has got air ride on it. So you get a bunch of information right here and right here. And then of course here, but you can change these if I just click. They got tire temperature, you got position, you've got engine data. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff. And then you're back to suspension information. Over here, it's going to be the same things, but this way you can choose which two you want to display. So now under here, there's a bunch of buttons in this screen. So if I go to here, there's a really cool feature. Look at that. So what it's going to do is when you're driving, it just uses the car's cameras. There's not actually a camera underneath the car, but the camera memorizes what it sees just in front of the car and then creates that picture digitally as it goes under the car. So if you're going over a larger rock or a tree or something, it'll actually show you where it is underneath the car, which is just phenomenal. I love that. All right, over here you've got downhill speed control. So you can turn that on, and that of course automatically brake the vehicle and keep it at a certain speed. It's always at low speeds, like under 10 miles an hour, but it keeps the car there so that you can concentrate on driving. So this one, when you're in drive, it switches it to manual shifting. So you use the paddle shifters on the left and right of the steering wheel. This, of course, is the height adjust. Okay. So right now on the dashboard, it tells me it's raising. And there's about, I think about a 5-inch difference between the full ride height and the lower height. Of course, this just turns traction control off in case you want that. So that's what those buttons do. Now, take that back off again for a minute. Let's hit the home screen. All right, you do have an info button that gives you some nice graphics. So then here, of course, you have accelerator information. You got how much you're pushing the brake. You've got tilt and incline. You've got your height of your car. And then, of course, you got engine information. You got pounds-feet of torque, horsepower. And then down here, you get a bunch of more information along with your boost. All right. All right. We'll come back to settings in a minute and devices in a minute. New is a Vivalidi Browser here. So we're just going to hit continue. And voila, there's some of the apps that you can get. You've got eBay, Prime Video, YouTube, let's see, Disney Plus, Yahoo, Expedia. Really neat. Lots of additional apps that we haven't seen right on the screen. Now, again, the video will not play while you're driving. You have to be in park, but the passenger has the same access to their stuff on their screen, and they can play videos while the car's moving. All right, so let's go back here and let's talk for a minute about apps. All right, these are the apps that we have, and the one I really want to point out here is the camera app. So if I click on this, click OK, there we are. Now, if you insert a USB, you can actually store the videos on there. Okay, so that's the selfie camera. Hello. All right. And then right here, you have some other options. So here's where you can start recording. It's not going to work now because I don't have a USB built in. So there's no internal storage. Right here, I can't change anything. Here, I can't change anything. And so it's just kind of set. It's like, let me see what's on the camera. There is nothing because no USB is connected. Okay. So, but this is where you would go to search for all the videos or pictures that you took. All right. So that is a cool feature. Of course, you can go to the gallery here, and that just brings us back to all the stuff that you have stored on your USB from your camera. All right, so let's go to devices. I'm going to hook up my Android. So what I did is I went to Bluetooth, I went to settings, and I went to clicked on Bluetooth, and I scrolled to the bottom of my lists. Here's my phone, so I'm going to click on that. Now it's going to ask me, is this the same passcode as on my phone? It is, so I'm going to hit pair. Okay. Now, this is an important screen. If I click decline and end, I'm just going to have regular Bluetooth. So I want to click accept and start, and you'll get the same message for Apple CarPlay. So, and then on your phone, it's going to ask you a bunch of questions like, do you want to allow your contacts and that, stuff? Just follow the directions on your screen. All right, so in a minute here, it should pop up as Android Auto. Here we go. So on my phone right now, I don't have Wi-Fi access. So this is why Google Maps is not showing up. That's why YouTube Media is not showing up. But it will on yours. The way it's designed is these are your most recently used apps. Okay, if you want to see all the apps that you can use in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, there's a little dice in the bottom corner. Click on that, and it's going to change over, and now here are all the apps. Now, I don't have a lot on my Android, okay, but if I were to if I had more, I would scroll up and down to see the apps. In Apple CarPlay, you're going to scroll left or right to see all the apps. Okay, and it will show you any navigation app you want. Like there's Google Maps right there, YouTube Music, Pandora. I got Waze, but that's where that's all going to be. And then this brings you back to the split window. If you have Android Auto, you can use the Android Assistant. And you can, on your phone, you can turn it to wake up when it's talked to, or you can press the button and you can control your phone with your voice and open apps and that kind of stuff. And you can do the same thing with iPhones through Siri. All right, so that's all there is to it to hook it up. So let's go back home for a minute. Let's go to settings. So let's go to assistance. So this is where all your assistance stuff is. So distance assistance Distronic. Adopt speed limit on or off. So it'll actually read the sign and then adopt the car to that speed. Route-based speed adaptation. All right, you can also set your brake and acceleration to be based on the whatever dynamic mode you're in or driving mode you're in. Okay, you can say I always want it to be based on comfortable or dynamic. Okay. Under collision avoidance, under electronic stability control, you can have it on or off. Active brake assist can be on or off. All of these can be on or off. But if you want to make some more adjustments, there's a gear wheel, and then you have other adjustments you can make. Okay. And again, this kind of requires drive the car a little bit, see what you think, and then if you think, boy, that active brake is really, really jumpy, grabs too much, well, then you can adjust it. All right. Under assistance, you have traffic sign assist. Okay, you can have a speed limit warning on or off. And if you do, you can say, well, warn me when I'm 5 over, or warn me when I'm right at the speed limit, or anywhere in between. You can have visual warnings or visual and audible. All right. Camera, this is where you can open the camera cover if you want to. Parking, okay, parking space and camera image in reverse. That's helpful for some people when they're looking at a picture of something, or you can turn that off. You can set the warning tones, and this is the volume. Okay, what I like is there's 2 warning tones given, so depending on your hearing, you should hear one of them. Okay, and then of course you have audio fade out for warnings. Audio fade out when in reverse. So it starts and then it fades out. Okay, and that's under the assistance. Under vehicle, of course, for driving, you can have manual shifting turned on or off just by simply clicking. Okay, automatic gas station search if you want. Okay, comfort. Easy entry and exit feature. This is the good one. So what it's going to do, it's going to remember your seat position and the steering wheel position. So when you shut the car off and you open the door, it's going to shove your seat all the way back and down, and then it's going to push the steering wheel all the way forward and up. And then when you get in, it'll recognize, either facial recognition by driver profile, key fob, or the memory buttons on the driver's door. And then it will automatically, when you start the car, put the steering wheel and seat back to where you had them. So that is a nice feature to have. The roof blind, okay. If I turn that off, it opens all the way up, or I can turn it on and have it closed. And of course, I've got buttons at the top to do that as well. Occupant protection, okay. Occupant presence remind. So what that does is when you get out of the car, it'll say, do not leave people or animals in the car. Belt adjustment. If you do that, if that's on, what's going to happen is it's automatically going to tighten up those seat belts if it senses an accident is imminent. Under open and close, which is an interesting title for the category. Under vehicle protection, you can have interior protection turned on, tow-away protection turned on, collision notification on or off just by clicking. It'll take collision photos. That's turned on, so the car will store those for you. Manage collision photos, upload collision photos, and so on. Okay? Digital vehicle key, you can set up that right here. Automatic door locks, okay, on or off. And then acoustic lock, on or off. And then automatic mirror folding turned on or off. So you shut off the car, they automatically fold. Okay, now under dynamic select, this one I already covered. This is where we set the individual drive mode. All right, under light. Now, so the new E-Class has an incredible new digital lighting system in the headlamps. It's just absolutely phenomenal. However, in the US, it's not been approved yet, so it's not turned on. Now, I have a feeling that's going to happen, but if and when it does, and you have a new E-Class, all you need to do is go to your dealer and they will turn it on. So basically, in a nutshell, it's amazing. Each headlamp has LED lights in it. The previous model had 81, or somewhere around 81 LEDs in each headlamp. The new E-Class has a million LEDs in each headlamp. So that's 2 million left and right. And what it's able to do is basically leave your high beams on all the time. And what it does, the car tracks the vehicle ahead of you, and it figures out with its camera and sensors where that vehicle is, and it goes in and it just turns off those particular lights. So that to the driver ahead of you, it appears like you just have low beams on. It can also handle cars coming towards you, and it can handle multiple cars coming towards you and you following a car. And it will just very, very, very quickly turn on and off all these LED lights as the cars go by you. Basically, if you're sitting in the driver's seat, it looks like a little black boxes around the car. It is absolutely phenomenal. Again, not active in U.S. vehicles here. It has to be approved yet, and hopefully that'll happen. And if so, boy, take a trip back to your dealership and have them turn it on, because it is on the car. It's just not turned on. All right. Now, you do have dynamic low beams. You've got daytime running lamps. You do have a spotlight feature. So it's going to shine a spotlight if it senses a person in front of you. All right. If you're entering road construction and the lane's changing, it'll throw a line in front right on the road and show you. So those features are new, and they are available, and they're on the car right now. All right. Interior and exterior lighting. Okay. Locator lighting. Okay. So that when you click the key fob, you get these lights coming on. Interior lighting switch off delay. If you switch that on, then when you close the door, the interior lights stay on for roughly, X number of seconds, and then they turn off. The exterior lights, okay? So when you're parking, you need a little extra time with the headlights on, you can delay them going off by up to 60 seconds or have it off altogether. And that way you can see to get in the house. And I've already covered ambient lighting here. It's absolutely amazing. All right. Now, let's go back here. And under system here, all right, so here you can turn the Hey Mercedes on or off, or you can go in here and you can set it so that you can start without a word. So you just say something like, turn the temperature up to 71.
Increasing the temperature to 71 degrees for you now.
So you don't have to say the Hey Mercedes part. Okay, you can turn that feature off if you want. Online voice control, that has to do with the Mercedes Me portal. And then once that is activated, you can use it in the vehicle. All right, proactivity. It's going to remind you to not forget your phone. All right, displays. All right, you can just change the display brightness right here. And the passenger display brightness as well. Now, this car is intelligent enough that if the passenger is watching something or has their screen on and the driver looks that direction, the camera on the dashboard will track them and it will automatically dim that screen so that it does not distracting to the driver. It's just phenomenal. You can switch the display on or off. Both passenger and central display have their own. So if you're not have a passenger and you're on a long trip, you just want to switch it off, you can do that. Or you can turn the whole system off if you want. All right, home screen, you get the classic view. I've showed you this a little earlier. Passenger screen decorative image. If you don't want the Mercedes stars, you can also turn it and get a different picture. Okay, so it's pretty cool. Just a little customization, things to give you. Graphical goodies, these have been on here in the past. They're fun. So on a particular holiday, let's say Christmas, you'll get random, let's say Santa and the sleigh going across your screen. So Halloween, you'll get ghosts or goblins coming out. It's just pretty cool, all the little things they add. And then you can change the units here. So the additional speedometer is designed to give you kilometers per hour. If you want to keep everything in miles per hour, you don't want to change everything because you can change that and that changes everything on the dash. But if you just want a little kilometer per hour one, or if you're in kilometers per hour, you get a miles per hour one, right? It's right below where the digital speedometer is, just off to the right a little bit. So that is really cool. All right, we've already looked at apps here. And then, of course, under info, you can see operator's manual if you want. We think the video is more helpful, but it's there. And then any sort of legal information if you want to look at the license information. I do want to mention some of the other buttons down below here. This button will activate your parking assistance, also just activates the cameras. So if I click it, here I go. And I can change my view. So I've got this view. That's coming right off the front bumper. I have got, I've got the back view. I've got a side view. I've got this side view, auto, okay? And then if that turns on, then it'll automatically come on at low speeds. And then of course, parking sensors right here. Now, I can take and spin all the way around the car. Look at that view. I mean, it's just phenomenal the way they stitched all those cameras together to give you this. Just incredible. So that is really, really neat. But a phenomenal system. Now, let me show you what it's like when you put it in reverse for a minute. You do get a bird's eye view over there. If you click this button, you're going to get a little wider angle. It's going to take up the whole picture, but you still have the car there. Okay. And then, of course, you get dynamic swivel guidelines. And the thin lines are, this is in reverse now. The thin lines are the front tire, where the front tires are going to go. And the thicker lines, yellow lines, are where the rear tires are going to go. And you can see that in both images. Okay. So, absolutely phenomenal camera system. I'm just going to hit park here for a minute. Okay, and then down here, you've got one more button. This brings up a bunch of shortcut buttons, like HUD on or off, electronic stability program on or off, the raise level, okay, manual shifting, downhill speed control, Parktronic, active lane keeping assist, active steering assist, and then we've got auto lane change feature on, interior protection, and towaway alarm. And then if you want, click on here, and it goes back to the setting that we were at earlier. Okay? But absolutely phenomenal. If you've never used these little shortcuts underneath the apps, these things will take you, like for instance, this one is programmed to take you home. This one is programmed just to open up navigation and the search window all at once. Okay, so absolutely phenomenal. All right, well, we've got one more screen left to go, so we're going to jump over and go take a look at the passenger screen on this beautiful super screen. All right, so over on the passenger side, you have another 12.3-inch screen. And this is the picture that I had changed it to earlier. So I'm going to simply tap on it. I get a power button. I'm going to click on that. For now, I'm going to skip that. And basically, folks, you have the exact same screen that the infotainment screen is. You have all of the same features. So you got navigation. Okay, if you want to plot a route here, it's going to send it to the driver. So it'll automatically go to that screen. So the passenger can look for a route or look for someplace to eat and then send it. Actually, you don't even have to send it. You just hit start and it goes. Okay, but you can recognize the same features here. You've got, of course, your radio. Okay, and I mean, you just look at all these apps and they're exactly the same. Okay, you do have the option to have Bluetooth headphones connected to this. Okay, and if you do that, then of course it doesn't come through the speakers. However, if you want to share that with the rest of the people, you can just tap this button and the audio playback will come through the speakers. Okay, click it again, it goes off. This, of course, is your volume. So if that's on right there, then I can go here and I get my volume knob. Okay. Absolutely phenomenal. You can do a profile for you. So you have a separate profile right there. You got the pull down list, just like you do at the other one where you get notifications. Okay. So I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I would go through more, but there really isn't a lot more to say about this other than it's just a nice feature to have. And it's going to operate just like your center infotainment screen does. Absolutely a phenomenal setup. What a phenomenal system. You know, between the two 12.3-inch screens on either side and the 14.4 in the middle, you know, with the newly upgraded graphics in there, and the ability to have the camera to have Zoom meetings. You got to pull over, but you know, the rest of us will appreciate it when you do that. So absolutely phenomenal car. I can see why it was Motor Trend's pick of the year. Just an incredible vehicle altogether. Well, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.